Let's discover the shocking truth behind Wi-Fi, glyphosate, and pineal gland calcification. Can we reverse the damage? You know, most people think that if you're feeling down or have a little bit of anxiety, it's all about germs or a chemical imbalance in your mind. But if we zoom out, it's more about the battle between the light and dark. Let's go big picture for a minute. So Rudolf Steiner is an Austrian mystic from the 1900s, and he has quite the resume. Founding alternative schools, biodynamic farming, and a new kind of medicine. Crazy thing is that Rudolf predicted that the big corporations would try to strip people from their soul. Now, what does that actually mean? It's to disconnect us from a higher realm by messing with our pineal gland, turning it off. The pineal gland is super sensitive to things like glyphosate, fluoride, and Wi-Fi. Now, Americans been pushing these three things for decades. And guess what? Our pineal gland is becoming calcified. It's like an antenna for energy. It helps regulate our immune and our endocrine system. Many spiritual traditions consider the pineal gland as a gateway to higher consciousness and the spiritual realm. It's believed to be involved in spiritual experiences, intuitions, and inner visions. When you hear about all these prophets and how they get revelations, all the books talk about how they get revelations, and they also say that these prophets are men like us, but they don't tell you exactly how they get them. But if you look at the pineal gland and how it works, when you look at prophets, mystics, and visionaries across all cultures, you can see how they were able to tap into the pineal gland's capacity to receive insights and visuals beyond normal perception. Now, factors like glyphosate, electromagnetic frequency EMFs, and fluoride can contribute to the calcification of the pineal gland, potentially impairing its function. Ancient texts and scriptures sometimes symbolically reference the pineal gland as the third eye. You see it on the dollar bill, you see it on the pyramids, you see it everywhere around the world, but nobody really understands what the third eye really is. Actually, Hollywood's got it everywhere. You see people coloring their eye like this, you can notice it now in all their movies, even on the movie covers. You'll see that's a symbol that they throw out all the time. So this eye plays a big role, but we just don't understand what it actually means. Because the third eye is a locus of spiritual insight and connects to the divine. Now, if this gland is calcified, its functions are impaired. It's believed that people will become less spiritually aware and more disconnected from the higher state of consciousness. This could make populations more susceptible to manipulation and control, as they might be less likely to question authorities and more likely to conform. If people are less connected to their spiritual selves, they might place more value on material possessions and external validation. This aligns with the interests of those in power who benefit from the consumer-driven society, where individuals are focused on acquiring goods rather than seeking inner validation or inner fulfillment. Okay, so now let's talk about Wi-Fi. It's like the telecom industry has picked the worst possible frequency to mess with us. Add in aluminum from geoengineering and glyphosate from the foods, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Now, when all these toxins combine and head straight to the pineal gland, especially when Wi-Fi opens up the blood-brain barrier, letting toxins right in. So what's going on here? Is it all just a coincidence? Just a bunch of dumb decisions by clueless people? Or is there a sinister mindset behind the perfect storm? Maybe some dark force is influencing scientists and politicians to make these harmful choices without even realizing it. Just look at 5G. We're putting it everywhere. They're even putting it in space without checking its safety. It's mind-boggling. We always have to be optimistic, so let's look at the hopeful side. We can fix this by turning off Wi-Fi, by banning glyphosate in our foods, by stopping chemtrail programs. All this is possible with a little bit of willpower. We can turn the planet from a pile of garbage into paradise in no time. If we just wake up and take a little bit of action. So here's to hoping that it's just a series of unfortunate events and that we can still set things right.